Andre Ward was also a perceived threat at 168. Are you aware of his retirement talks, and what do you take to him?
That's exactly what I was just telling a fellow before you. Andre Ward, unfortunately, he's not an honorable man. And the reason I say that is because he had a rematch clause with Kovalev, and he's not honoring that.
Yeah.
Okay. Way before the fight, all those details were ironed out. There's no reason to talk about anything but a date. That Andre Ward wants to retire is just a way of running past the date of the rematch clause, which is, like I said, it's not honorable. That's not a man with any kind of honor.
You've spoken highly of Daniel Jacobs' ability as a fighter. Do you feel that he has enough to go 12 rounds and to give Gennady Golovkin a real fight?
Nobody goes 12 rounds with Golovkin from 154 to 168. And eventually he will catch up with him. But in Golovkin's mind, just like in the Murray fight, he wants to know if he can go 12 rounds. So hopefully Jacobs presents that kind of challenge that if it does go 12 rounds and we win the fight, well, at least now we know we can. If he moves to 168, 175, those guys are going to be bigger. They're going to take the shots better. They're not going to be able to be knocked out as easily as the smaller guys. So Golovkin has to move his power up. If it doesn't come up with him, then he's going to have to go 12 rounds. So in his mind, he's preparing himself for that eventual. You know, he's 35 years old. By the time that happens, maybe he's 38 years old. He wants to know. I mean, I want to know too.
Hey, but would you guys be open to the winner of James DeGale, but though Jack Golovkin has fought in the UK, he did great. He sold great in tickets, and DeGale, obviously, he's being a UK native, it will be real big. What do you take to a matchup between Jack or DeGale?
What we have said is we will move up for the right fight. If Eddie and Tom seem to work together real well, Frank and Tom seem to work together very well, that's a fight that probably could be made. It's a fight that would be huge over there. Absolutely. It's a matter of just the minds coming together. Unlike, like I just said about Kovalev and Kathy and Rock Nation, just they're so far apart after that fight that it's not good for us. It's not good for boxing. It's not good for us having these kind of press conferences and having these kind of events. Man.
What is your take on that matchup, the Jack and DeGale? Hey, Bo, Canelo Golovkin's a big fighter, but if you're aware, there's talks of a potential catchweight between Chavez Jr. and Canelo. Why was he able to not go up to 160 for Golovkin and move up to 165 for Chavez Jr. and he asked Golovkin to move down to 155? What's your take on that whole situation?
You know, I think it's a little hypocritical, but I'll give it to you this way. I said that we would move up to 168 with Golovkin to fight the right fight, but we always said that he was a middleweight and we would move up to 68. With Canelo, he says he's not a middleweight, yet he was the middleweight champion, defended the middleweight title, and he would want Golovkin to come to 55. Now he's a middleweight. Now he's fighting at 65, where he wants to fight at 65. I think it's unfortunate for Chavez that he's in a position that he has to take a fight like that because he's dwindled his career. He's really not done the right things. And at 65, I think Chavez will be weaker. Canelo will be stronger. Canelo will be faster. So I think Canelo beats him in a decision. But it's because it's Chavez's fault that he gets beat. It's Chavez's fault because he has let his career be up at 175, 174, and now he's killing himself to get a money fight.
You know, talk to us about the frustrations of not getting a big fight.
Wristbands, but he's asking me to get them all out. So unless you have a wristband, you can continue. And I haven't seen one.
Can you just talk to us about the frustrations of not getting a big fight? Because there was talks with Canelo Alvarez, there was talks with Chavez Jr., Carl Froch. Is Daniel Jacobs a big enough fight?
The frustration was that guys were just talking. You know, that's the biggest frustration. Golovkin in the Monroe fight and the Wade fight and the Brook fight looked like he wasn't interested. So Jacobs being the perceived threat by everybody, the perceived threat that he is legitimate according to the experts, gives Golovkin that, I'm not going to say fear, but gives him that edge to want to do the best that he can in the fight and to look destructive.
Fights that don't really make sense. What do you think about Pacquiao and Bourne? They just signed the dotted line. They're ready to go. They have no location set yet, but it seems like everything's in place. What do you think about that fight?
Pacquiao had the Vargas fight where he won the title. He had a couple fights before that where he looked good. Why not give him a little carrot? Why not? Come on. I think he deserves it. I think he's done enough in the sport and done enough for us as fans that deserve a carrot. I mean, he can't just keep fighting the Vargases and the tough guys fight after fight.
What if he deserves that tune-up, so to speak? why doesn't he deserve the 20 million that he quote unquote demanded for Terence Crawford? Is he worth that? Does he deserve
I think
that?
he deserves 40 million. I think he deserves whatever the hell he thinks he deserves. He's the one. We're not gonna be out a dime if he doesn't get the fight. He's the one that's gonna be out the money, not us.
And my last question: why do fight fans continue to criticize Gennadi's resume, saying that he hasn't fought top tier middleweights? If he gets the win over Daniel Jacobs, will that change their perspective?
I don't know how many all of you have watched boxing and how many years you go back and how you've studied boxing. Has there been anybody in any division dominated a division like Golovkin is dominating? He has nobody. He's dominating the middleweight division like nobody else in history in any division. You can't think of one. You can't tell me one. Yes, they've won. Bernard Hopkins had 20 defenses, but he had fights that they shouldn't have won. Golovkin is knocking people out. Now, you're going to say, yeah, but he's got a weak middleweight division. You mean in the history of boxing, there's been only one division that's been weak, and that's this middleweight division. It's untrue, man.